Welcome to the Johnny Ringo Coaches Show. I'm Chris Ferris, Assistant Athletic Director with Plano ISD, and this course is Coach Johnny Ringo from the Plano East Panthers. Coach, well, what a game! I tell you, talk about heartbreaker. You go into the first week like this, and of course you expect all kinds of different things. I'm sure when it's first week, first ball game rolls around. But just your thoughts here on the unfortunate 49-48 overtime loss there at Arlington High.
Well, we knew going in, they had a great football team last year. We're 11-3, played 4 rounds, had a good nucleus of starters back on both sides of the ball, about the same that we had. And so we knew we'd be in for a good challenge and a good test, especially in 0 week. And, got off to a great start, had a 10-point lead at halftime, had a 17-point lead in the third quarter at one point, and just couldn't hold them off. They did a good job of maintaining momentum and getting some points when they needed to, and we just couldn't put them away. That was the biggest thing, I think, in the game. And now looking back, I think I've told some people that I wish that we'd gone to 4-minute mode in third quarter, Chris, when we were up by 17, which means we just try to take the clock down to 1 second on each play and each time, and maybe that would have made a difference. But flip side of that, we wanted to maintain momentum as well, and we're doing some good things at that point. But we had I think 3 or 4 drives there that we went 3 and out. So our defense had been on the field for a while and have to come right back out, made it tough on us. And so heartbreaking loss, but one that we can learn from and build on, hopefully.
Sure, absolutely. And Coach, I know, obviously the anxiety of the first game and finally getting there, finally getting past the scrimmage, all the two-a-days and those types of things. Going in, what might have been some of the concerns you were, not necessarily concerns, I should say, maybe some of the things you were looking that you were hopeful you were as good as you might think you might be going in, whether that be offensively, defensively, or special teams?
Well, offensively, we've got a brand new quarterback, and some folks had questions about Corey, and I didn't have any questions because he's such a great kid and a competitor, and not very big yet. We give him a hard time about that, but he had a great night. Dante Taylor injured his knee early, and junior running back, so he was kind of an unknown, even though he had some varsity snaps last year. But Nathan Metters came in and did an awesome job in replacement of him, and of course both those guys split time. We have 2 running backs in there anyway. But Nathan came in and had a great game, and so the question marks weren't necessarily at wide receiver. We have 2 great seniors returning there, Ryan Gary and Gabe Dunlap, who had big games. Offensive line, have some injuries there, but yet with Jake Brindle and Walter Rampy, we felt solid. And so I guess really quarterback, running back were questions, and those were answered for us. Offensively, I felt like we were very explosive, scored 48 points. We have some playmakers. We needed to be able to, as I said earlier, sustain those drives in the third quarter, which we couldn't do. And so, there really wasn't, I guess, a whole lot of concerns offensively, or they were answered. Now, defensively, with the injuries that we had, and we do have about 3 or 4 on both sides of the ball, and most of those are starters. Our concern there was our conditioning level, which, maybe in the fourth quarter we found out it wasn't where it needed to be. It was a warm night, and feel like we worked pretty hard in practice and condition like everybody else, but that was an area of concern, and I think mainly just not being able to stop those guys. And so going in, we just, the unknowns of a season, we're kind of where we were last year at this point. We lost our first game last year by a point, and we had some questions more on defense. But in special teams, the ones we might have had were answered. We did a great job there. We had a lot of big plays, had a touchdown on punt returns. So all in all, with some of the concerns that we had going in were alleviated, and are not concerns anymore. Now we have some new ones, so to speak, that we have to deal with in these injuries, and having some guys play better.
Well, like you talked about, just a little bit on the offensive side of the ball. As I was there in the first half, and just watching, obviously, like you said, quarterback was new this year, and I was really impressed with the way he threw the ball. And I know that comes as no surprise to you guys, but those folks that didn't have a chance to go see him play and see him run the offense, get out this week. But Coach, talk a little bit about how he's come along this year.
Well, he was our JV quarterback last year, and they were 7-3, so he did a great job for us. Younger brother of Brandon Wesley was one of our quarterbacks last year. He's now at Bucknell, and so there's a lot of comparisons between he and his older brother, and then also Ryan Foster from a run standpoint and a throwing standpoint. And the only difference is being that he's not as big right now. He's probably 5'11", 160. Maybe we can give him credit for maybe that extra 5 pounds. And so, but he just does such a tremendous job of managing our offense. He's got a great head on his shoulders as far as being able to read defenses and what we ask him to do. And he's a calm, cool character, I guess you'd say. He really does a great job out there in managing the game and managing our offense, and realizing that he's got a lot of playmakers around him as well. So really pleased with him, and he threw for over 300 yards, and we feel like that, we'll just see him progress each week and get better and better.
Sure, absolutely. And I know as you guys get in on Friday night, actually Saturday morning, I know you look through and look through the lineup and talk about the guys and kind of highlight the guys that had great games and those types of things. Who are on the charts this week as well, on the rest of the offense and defense as well, guys that you
Well, our special teams, again, the awards we give are the special teams game breakers, and those were Gabe Dunlap for his return of the punt return for a touchdown, and Ryan Gary is our punter. He's a receiver, did a great job punting the ball for us. We forced a turnover on one of his punts. James Saunier was 100% on field goals, almost 100% on PAT, missed one. And then Casey Collins did a great job with our strike team, our kickoff team. And so those four were our special teams players. Big hit went to Deontay Taylor, which I think we'll see on the highlights here in just a bit. And we wish the ball would come out there. That would have been a difference in the game, I think. Big hit block was Ryan Gary, one of the wide receivers, which it's difficult for those guys to get that award because we give them such a hard time. We don't think they're very tough, but he did a good job. And then Jacob Brindle was the other one, the offensive line. Defensively, Corey Bassett played his best game, and he started all last year as a sophomore corner. He played his best game of his career. And then offensively, we felt like that Ryan Gary and Gabe Dunlap and Nathan Metters and Corey Wesley, the guys we've been talking about, did a great job for us offensively. The other two goals that we put up are explosives. And explosive for us is a 15-yard run, or excuse me, a 15-yard pass or a 12-yard run. And we try to have at least 6, and we had 11 in the game. And they had 7, so we were +4 in that area. And so we look at the turnovers and we look at the explosives and try to be positive in that category. But knockdowns, we won 50 a game, and we only had 45. And so we didn't get near the knockdowns that we need, and that's any position, just getting the guy to the ground. And then our pursuit grade needs to be 92% above for our team, and we were 83%. So we fell short in those two areas, but all in all, we had a lot of guys do some really good things, had some guys step up that people may not have thought would have been big-time players for us that will continue to improve. And then, as I said at the beginning, this isn't a negative, but we have some guys that have been big-time players for us in the past that didn't have their best game, and so they've got to get back on track.
As you look back on Friday night, Coach, and the atmosphere, and certainly we had a lot of things going on at the stadium with the new scoreboard, but just capacity crowd on the home side. We ended up having to open up the berms for people to sit in. There were so many folks there. Can you speak to a little bit of the atmosphere and how you felt that the folks came out on Friday night?
Well, it was great. I think we had our band cluster night and the choir cluster night, and so we'd love to see those folks every week. We had over 300 kids singing the national anthem prior to the game, and that was great. And so, our band and choral programs at East and for the whole East cluster, for that matter, are just tremendous, and they do a great job. And so, we love seeing those folks there. It really adds a lot of folks, people to the stands. As you said, it was capacity crowd, and so it was great energy, great excitement. And for the most part of the game, the football team did their part. Unfortunately, at the end, we weren't able to finish with that. And I've heard from a number of people, great game, but if we don't win, to me, it's not a great game. And I know for a fan, and maybe buying a $7 ticket or whatever it is, $5 for a student, maybe, it probably was a great entertainment. It's the best entertainment, in my opinion, on Friday night in all the state of Texas, for the cost. But it'd rather be the type of entertainment that swings in the favor of Plano East. So it was a great crowd. Thanks for everybody coming. Hopefully we'll see that type of crowd the remainder of the year. That they'll come back out and give us another chance. Okay. And, again, when Nate Metters came in, did an awesome job for us. Deontay Taylor, knee injury. We don't think it's serious, but just got tremendous speed. And we've got 4 or 5 guys that are sophomores that can run. And this is a great example of him. I didn't know he flashed quite like this. This is awesome, but just great speed. That was just a little running back screen that we throw, and got him on perimeter, and he had a great run here, and then I think there's another run, may not be on the highlights, but actual rushing the football. But tremendous job. Try to get a hand on the hat. Everybody gets in the picture. Offensive linemen get a chance. This was late in the game. This was our big hit of the week, Deontay Taylor. This was on their last drive, and they went down and scored. The only difference there, we'd like for him, the ball to come out. Right here you can see he's in great position, great form tackle, heads up, seeing what he hits from a safety standpoint, and their kid does a good job of holding on to the ball. This is right before the half. We just check here and go to X-Go with Gabe Dunlap, and a great throw from Corey to him, and felt like we had the matchup we wanted on 7 there, and we got that. And Gabe was showing you his size of his biceps. I'm not sure, so wanted that to be a team celebration. Darius Hood calls a fumble here. This was their opening drive of the second half. We fumbled the opening kickoff and make a mistake in fielding responsibilities, and so Deontay Taylor got some reprieve here. He's a defensive guy, and Darius Silver calls that fumble. So big turnover. Screen game was huge for us all night long. This is just a little inside tunnel screen with one of our wide receivers, senior Ryan Gary. He and Gabe Dunlap are our two returning, and it's great to have those two guys because they bring such experience to the position, great competitors. You know, got pressure on him decently during the course of the night. This attack here by Toby Obumseli, so we get a little defensive help. Great job here of fitting outside. You can see 25, Dakota Smith there. I'd like for him to wrap up, but you know, we've got a place for everybody on our run fits. And good looks at this secondary on the tackle there. This is an early ball thrown here to Trey Jones, and from Corey Wesley. Trey's another one of those juniors now. They were sophomores last year that had great speed, and he's going to be a tremendous player for us as well. We just got a lot of weapons offensively, so we feel good about that, and just got to continue to improve each week. And I believe this is the final play. You know, we got an opportunity here on two-point conversion. They go for it and go for two. We thought we jumped off sides, must have got back, didn't get the call. We're in position to make the play. You know, we can see we got him right to the line of scrimmage, and kid just does a great job of making a play, reaching across, getting the ball across the line of scrimmage. So heartbreaking way to lose, but you know, obviously a great game and exciting game.
Well, Coach, this week we move on to Naaman Forest, a good ball team I know you'll face at 7:30 this Friday night at Kimbrough Stadium. Tell us what you expect out of Naaman Forest.
Well, they're vastly different from what we saw this past week. I mean, obviously Arlington did a great job rushing the football against us, and you know, we gave up way too many yards and points. And our defensive staff, Coach Patrick and his group, do a great job. And so we've got some areas of that we need to shore up and get better. But this week offers a completely different type of offense, Chris, in that they're a downhill running team and the old wing tee and run the buck sweep and run the bootleg, and so things that a lot of guys, if the older guys watching the show might say, well, I remember that offense when I played in high school, and that's what we'll see. And so the big physical offensive line, good set of running backs, a good physical quarterback, and so a lot different. They'll be, like I said, they'll be downhill, run right at us, and just pound the football. And so good test for us from the standpoint of when we play our first district ball game, and we play Flower Mound Marcus, and that's exactly what they do. They've got two great running backs and really took it to Garland in the first week, and so that's what we'll see. And so that's one of the reasons we scheduled a game like this one to see this type of offense. We feel like it'll help us down the road, because most people we play are, you know, it'll be some version of spread, might be under center a little bit. The majority of teams are in the spread and in the gun.
Well, very good, Coach. Good luck to you, and I think the motto is come early and stay late. And
That's right.
Hope to see you all you East
black.
Panther fans wearing black, and another capacity crowd there at Kimbrough Stadium this coming Friday night, 7:30. Look forward